Previously on Jay Speaks.
So what you were just describing, is that community policing policy, what you were just describing?
Yeah, that is community, that's community policing. Community policing basically is communities at the table. And as law enforcement, we are basically saying, what is it you want us to do? What is your need? Partners Against Crime has been around since the 80s. Steve Chalmers and Jackie McNeil, who are homegrown, they were both police chiefs here. They went somewhere and they went around across a couple of places and identified a community thing, right? And that community thing that they liked, they brought it back here, but they made it Durham. And that's another thing that individuals and communities have to remember too. You can look at stuff across this country, oh, that's a really good thing that works in Portland, Oregon, or it's a really good thing that works here, but go get it, right? But bring it and make it adapted to here, to this community, because you can't make it adapt. And you got to make it fit. You got to make it fit. So community policing is listening to the community. The reason I brought the Partners Against Crime, that involved the entire city. Everybody was a part of it. You know, I talked about abandoned vehicles, because a lot of times it's about abandoned property, cars and things like that. Law enforcement doesn't do that. So other entities in the city would come in and take care of that and send something to the person who had property that was abandoned. Your property is abandoned, we need you to do something with it. And the city would do that. So it's a collective working on whatever it is the community says is important. And usually, based on what we learned, was policing was like number 4 or 5. Policing was not the top concern for the community. It was other stuff. What do we do with the kids? How can we get them involved in stuff? You know, how can we make the community look better? How can we do anything? Usually law enforcement was down somewhere between 5 and 6, because we sat down, shut our mouths, and listened to what the community needed.
So do you believe that policing should have been 1, 2, 3, like position 1, 2, 3?
No, I believe it should be what the community wants. We're here to serve the community. We're here to. I think everybody. If we're at the bottom of it, if you get to law enforcement, all the other systems have failed. By the time you get to law enforcement, everything else has failed. We're the last door. We're the last door.
Check out today. A candid conversation about law enforcement and our marginalized communities.
throughout my life had this drive in me to want to fight for people who maybe didn't have someone to fight for them. And that kind of came to fruition with Hope and Vine. So we work with women who have aged out of foster care. They get to come here and find community and employment and mentoring, and that has just allowed, to kind of stand up for someone who didn't have someone fight for them.
Hello everyone. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you who are subscribed to Jay Speaks, thank you so much and welcome back. As you know, it is my mission, it is my passion to bring to you all conversation topics that are positive, motivational, educational, and informational. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to be here with Rachael Smith, the Executive Director of Hope and Vine. Can you imagine if your past trapped you into a future that you didn't want? Well, this is the unfortunate reality for most young women who age out of the foster care system. Studies show that over 50% of the homeless population was once in foster care. Over 60% of trafficking victims have foster care in their history, and less than 3% of former foster youth graduate from college. It is Hope and Vine's mission to equip these young women who age out of the foster care system with both purpose and freedom. The organization believes that everyone is uniquely created with value and designed to live with purpose. Hope and Vine offers these young women employment and community opportunities so that they can break their cycles of trauma and become thriving, more confident adults. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit back, relax, and most importantly, listen. And hopefully after today's episode, you'll understand for yourself that our circumstances do not determine our future. Rather, we are defined by our redemption, not our past. So Rachael, it's truly a pleasure to be here with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and my team here. It's a great place you have here. Smells nice, feels comfortable. I feel welcome, feel at home. Thank you.
Perfect, because that is our goal, is for people to come in and just feel at peace. So that's
awesome.
wonderful.
Well, before we officially get started, I would definitely like to learn a little bit more about you, and I'm sure my viewers would as well. So please take this opportunity to share a little bit about yourself. You know, who is Rachael Smith, and also talk a little bit about Hope and Vine and your role as the executive director of Hope and Vine. So please share as much as you want.
Okay, well, I am someone who loves to start new things. I am always questioning the status quo and trying to think of ways that things could be better. And I immediately start thinking about all of the ideas. I'm not always the best at seeing those ideas through to completion, but that's something that I have other people around me to help me with there. I am also very goal oriented. I love to run. I run marathons, and so that's just kind of a part of who I am. I'm always looking for the next adventure. And I also have throughout my life had this drive in me to want to fight for people who maybe didn't have someone to fight for them. And that kind of came to fruition with Hope and Vine. So we work with women who have aged out of foster care. They get to come here and find community and employment and mentoring, and that has just allowed, to kind of stand up for someone who didn't have someone fight for them.
Nice. So who sparked that part of you or that piece of you that liked to fight for people who didn't have as much as others?
Yeah. Well, after a lot of counseling and being in therapy, finally kind of had this aha moment of I didn't, I would say my mother fought for me, but she didn't always like me. And then my father, I was his sunshine, his little girl, but he didn't fight for me. And so this has just kind of throughout my life, I kind of seen that that's where that comes from. And just wanting to, in my desire of wanting someone to stand up and fight for me, I now stand up and fight for others.
Wow. So is Hope and Vine the only avenue that you fight for other people, or is this a part of your character, your personality?
Well, I mean, going back to when I was a teenager, I wanted to have a horse farm.
Wow.
To help teens, even though I was still a teenager. That was just, I wanted to help in that way. Turns out I don't like horses, so I let go of that of that idea. So it's, I think it's looked different throughout my life. My husband and I owned a coffee shop years ago, and so I think there, I don't know, I've just done a little bit of everything. I think I think it was just this desire to create a place of community in a really kind of rough area of Chicago, and we did that, and yeah.
But I had to ask, helping women who age out of the foster care system, that is a very particular area or a very particular avenue to want to fight for people who don't have a voice or fight for people who don't have the resources to fight for themselves. So what led you in this particular direction?
So my husband and I were going through the process to become foster parents. And in that process, they were really encouraging people to foster teens because there are very few homes that will accept teens. And there's a lot of teens in foster care. And they talked about what happens when they age out. And I just truly had been ignorant that that was even a thing. And so once I learned that that happened, I was not okay with that. And so I wasn't exactly sure what to do or what that would look like. But as time went on, kind of had this aha moment where I already had a jewelry making business and was feeling this pressure that I couldn't find the time to make these items, and realized that, oh, this is how I help. I give them the job. That allows me to build that relationship with them, get to know them, because I like working with my hands and being creative, but what really gets me excited is to see people in general, but especially young women, really kind of see their worth and find that freedom to become who they were meant to become.
Wow. So Hope and Vine, talk about the history of that name.
So it is the idea of, hope for a better future, that one of our things that we believe here is that our past does not determine our future. And so that hope of something better. And then vine to symbolize just the growth. And we are a faith-based organization, so then there's also the imagery of abiding in the vine, so we just remain close to Jesus.
Wow, that's beautiful. Very beautiful. I see how they're related now. So how many women are a part of Hope and Vine?
So currently we are working with 6 women closely. We have 3 of them are employed, and then the 3 others are just in our life skill mentoring program. And over the years, we've worked with about 15.
Wow.
women.
So over the years, so how long has Hope and Vine?
It's been almost 5 years. No, 6.
This be
Because it'll be 6 years in April.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So talk about the process of the young women leaving the foster care system to them coming to find out about Hope and Vine, and like, what do they do next? How do you get them affiliated with jobs and community opportunities? How does that work?
Yes. So most of the women who come to us are being referred by a partnering organization
Okay.
that also works with this population group. Most of them are in their young 20s. We do work with some who are in that 18 to 21 group, but we have found that the older ones have, they're more ready to do the work. They've made that like, I don't want to live this way, or I want better. So the way that it works, so when they turn 18, they age out. And then here we have an 18 to 21 program where they have the option to sign themselves back up for foster care. And then they get the stipend, which is about $700 a month, which is not enough to live on. And so they get that money unless they're living in a group home, in which case the group home gets that money. And so some of them are living with foster parents, but they have to meet certain criteria. So they have to, be working so many hours or going to school, or they're not allowed to reconnect with their birth families. And so they have to meet this criteria. So a lot of times, it's not uncommon for young adults in that group to still be, finishing up their GED, and, trying to get those pieces in place.
So all that criteria, that's to live with a foster family, or
so that's to
for
be
foster parents?
So that's to be in that 18 to 21
okay.
program.
18 to
Yeah.
21 program.
So, which is that didn't start until 2017. So that was a huge step in the right direction. But now what's happening is, instead of them becoming homeless at 18, they're becoming homeless at 21. So there's still work that needs to be done. So when they come to us, they do have some level of housing. It could be that they're crashing on a friend's couch, but they have a roof over their head. They're not sleeping in their car. And so they are able to, because if you don't have that housing component in place, like you can't focus on anything else.
Of course.
So they do have that in place when they're working with us, and we work with them on a variety of life skills. So anything from like fitness and nutrition to how to manage their finances, understanding different mental health and the nervous system, and how trauma impacts and how it impacts your physical health, and you kind of understanding how it's this big, like just nebulous of factors that they're having to navigate, in their life. And so we do those classes and mentoring. We do a lot of just kind of stepping in the gap of where a family would. So we help them move, we help them decorate their new apartments, we, teach them how to cook, go grocery shopping with them, kind of whatever they need.
So Hope and Vine, you guys help with the moving and decorating the apartments and all that. But as far as the financial literacy and all that stuff, do you hire professionals to come in, or does the Hope and Vine staff teach?
No, we partner.
Partner.
Yep. So we have people who have a background in that, who volunteer their time to come in and work with the women.
Wow. So Hope and Vine is truly a community effort.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no way we could do this on our own.
Wow. So how many Hope and Vine staff do you have?
We have 2 full-time and 3 part-time.
2 full-time and 3 part-time. And then how many volunteers, roughly?
That's a harder question.
Harder question.
So we have some volunteers who are like deeply, they're in here all the time. And so I would say we probably that's a smaller number, maybe 5 to 10. But we've got a crew of women who bring in lunches.
Wow.
And, just kind of, anytime they have something that they need to get rid of, they say, hey, we have a rug. Does anybody need a rug? Hey, we have a couch. Does anybody need a couch? So, they kind of look out for us, look out for the girls.
Okay. So, before our interview, I was perusing your website, and I saw something that stuck out to me. On your website, you said, or it says, participants of Hope and Vine feel safe and ultimately become who they want to be. And when I saw feel safe, those 2 words particularly stuck out to me, because you could have said, feel loved, feel respected, feel heard, but you said feel safe. And I believe that there's some meaning or reasoning as to why you said that. And my question to you is, what feedback have you received from participants that warrant such a claim?
We have an example. So a couple of the girls who work here, they come in with their, their pajamas and their slippers on. And we're like, girls, you can't show up to work in your pajamas. And they're like, well, but this is like coming home. And, and they tell us, we wouldn't act like this anywhere else. But we feel they're safe here, right? So it's kind of, having children, young children, right? They can act out, they can have their temper tantrums. They'll keep it together with the babysitter, but when mom comes home, they lose it, because it's a safe person that they can kind of be raw with, right? So our women know that this is a safe place, that they can vent, that they can kind of talk through their struggles with, and it's very family-like.
So how is that for you, being on the receiving end of being vented to by people who hold so much trauma? Do you feel as though that kind of affects your psyche? Does that affect, how you, I guess, process life? Because I feel like that could be a lot, being on the receiving end on that day after day, or however frequent you see.
Yep. So we definitely, as a staff, remember that, it's not, even if they are frustrated with us, we know that, there's something else is going on here, and try to approach it with curiosity, to figure out what's behind that. And then we'll find out, oh, she just found out that her electricity is about to be turned off. Okay, this thing just happened. Now we understand, and we don't take it personal. We are, as a staff, a support system for each other. But I know it is, for me personally, it's so important that if work is hard, then I need to be able to go home and get filled back up myself. And so I very much protect my home life because that's what sustains me in the day-to-day.
So are you and the other Hope and Vine staff, are you well connected with the foster families or the individual or the people that these young women are staying with in the meantime? So like if they have an issue that they bring into this vicinity, you can reach out to those individuals to see what's up, or?
So most of our women are not with a foster family. We don't work, we have had a couple women who were in a foster type situation. But just those few. I actually have to remind myself that there are positive foster care stories. The women we work with, that's not their story. They didn't have the positive foster care family that cared for them. And so it's not uncommon for children, there was trauma, they've ended up in foster care, and then there's more trauma that happens while they're in foster care. Ideally, if a young adult has been in foster care, when they age out, they would still have that support system. But some of these families don't continue that support. And so most of the women we work with actually come from group home situations. So if a foster kid had a positive foster care story, then they wouldn't need us. So they would have, they're welcome, but we find when I meet young adults who say, I aged out, but I'm still but my foster family is still my family. They are doing so much better in life because they've got some stability that kind of, kept them away from making some bad decisions.
So do you have an inkling as to why foster families kind of disown?
That's hard for me to judge someone else's heart. I think some get into it for the wrong reasons. You hear the stories about how some foster families go into it to make money, which I think there's got to be better ways to make money. I think also the people who go into it with good intentions, there is a deeper thing in their heart where they're wanting to be appreciated. They want that foster kid to be thankful for how much they're helping them. And that's not fair to that foster kid. That foster kid did nothing to end up in foster care. It's not their fault. They didn't ask for it. A lot of them would rather be back with their birth families. They don't want to be in a foster home. And so these foster families who go into it with that kind of
You should be grateful for me type
yes,
of mindset.
That can be troubling.
I can see how that could be troubling.
Mm-hmm.
We did all this for you and you have nothing
Yes.
to say for it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So going back, I want to speak about the other part on the website, what I read. Participants also become who they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a story, or you don't have to mention any names, but of a participant who has come through your organization and truly became who she wants to be, or working towards that actively?
So we have, several who are just working so hard with so many obstacles in front of them. So I would say, I don't know if any of them would say that they've like arrived. But honestly, like, I think even for myself personally, that because I do have this drive for success, but then what is success? And so I'm coming to realize that success is the journey. It's not the destination. It's, what am I experiencing in this story that I'm in? So I would say, I'm so proud of how hard these women are working. I mean, we've got one woman who just finished her associate's degree.
Okay.
First person in her family to ever go to college.
Wow.
Major. We got another who's getting ready to finish her associate's degree. We've got a girl who worked her butt off to get her GED and now is taking classes to go to nursing school.
Okay.
They are, and they get knocked down and we're like, oh my gosh, is she going to get back up? And here she comes. I'm going to keep going. I'm keeping going. And it's impressive. It's impressive how hard these women work.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And do you believe that that's through the mentorship and the opportunities that you afford?
We're just honored to be a
part of their story.
To be a part of it. Just to be that person who's one of the many people who is cheering for them as they are running so hard.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Wow. So how have you grown? We talk about, success is a journey, not a destination. If you can recall, what was your mindset when you were brainstorming all of this versus your mindset now? How have you grown? How is your journey looking like, the ebbs and flows of that?
Yes. I would say, starting out, it's almost, to get something started, it's like giving birth, right? And it's like, here is this precious thing and I've got to protect it and I've got to control all the things and I got to do everything myself, right? And so as it has grown, learning to be like, okay, actually I can't do all the things. I need help, right? So bringing in the right volunteers and the right staff to come along and to see them love this thing and believe in this thing as much as I do, that's wonderful, but still feeling that need to kind of hold on tight to it. And I would say over the last, couple years of just really being able to say, you know what, this has nothing to do with me. We're a nonprofit and we're really working hard to be healthy and sustainable. And, so we have a board of directors, and so they are owning the vision and the strategy, and I'm letting that go because I need to know that if something happens to me or when the time comes and it's time for me to walk away, that this doesn't end. So it's got to be sustainable without me. And so it's very freeing. And I think learning that my identity is not what I do. And I think that has, I just kind of came to this realization a few weeks ago, talking with my 16-year-old son, who also is very driven and goal-oriented. And we were talking about success and arriving and all of this. And I said, I really think, I do feel like I have finally succeeded, But I think the success is that, like, I am totally good with just being me. And getting to that point where I'm not having to prove myself or accomplish a thing or whatever, like, whew,
It's liberating.
it is amazing. And, 3 years ago, I don't think I couldn't have said that. So this has been a beautiful process of seeing something start and grow and then take on its own life.
Wow. The power of surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded energy, like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And you also talked a little bit about, relinquishing that power in the sense of, being able to trust the people that you work with, that they have the same vision, the same mindset as you. Mm-hmm. Wow. So how did your team find you? Did you find your team or your team found you? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Well, some of the people who have come along, and it's like God. Just divine encounters of just meeting the right people at the right moment. So, yeah, it's a lot of it has been. Our program director started as a volunteer. Our director of operations was because I knew somebody who posted a job ad, and she knew somebody who saw it. And then our admin assistant is a friend who I had that I saw occasionally and talked to, and she texted me like out of the blue, "Hey, you've been on my mind.
Wow.
Is there anything that Hope and Vine needs?" And I said, "Well, can you talk?" And so we got on the phone, and I was like, "Actually, we need an admin assistant." And she was like, "Well, what would that look like?" And so told her, the job description, and she was like, "I'm interested in that." And so she's come on. Our program coordinator also started as a volunteer. So yeah, it's a great group.
Praise God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that did not happen by accident. I wanted to let you know.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That was on purpose.
Some of the meetings, yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, I can tell. Good energy. You're talking to people who believe in you. You're talking to people. You're working together with people who share your same vision, share your energy. It's almost like you're talking to yourself with different faces. I can see how that could really ease your mental. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's beautiful. So I got to ask, great energy, great staff, great opportunities that you're offering to the participants. But I got to ask, why focus solely on women? I'm sure that foster boys or males go through the same experiences that foster women or foster girls go through. Please talk about that a little bit.
Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
They end up going from foster home to foster home, and they don't find permanency. The mission of Hope and Vine is to equip young women who have aged out of foster care to live with purpose and freedom.
Hi, my name is Linda, and I am an artisan at Hope and Vine.
We provide employment and mentoring for young women who have aged out of foster care. They are employed as artisans, making jewelry, apparel, accessories. And it is within that space of employment that we are able to build authentic relationships with them and be able to, provide the resources that they need specifically. So for all of our artisans, we are able to offer mental health services, financial coaching, assistance with transportation. But beyond that, it's really almost like a concierge service because all of their needs are so different.
The help and the support I got, I could not get anywhere else. Believe it or not. And I looked everywhere.
I do a lot of coaching with them and working individually with them on where they currently are and where they want to be going. And then we come up with a plan for them, how they're going to get there. So I do a lot of one-on-ones and helping them work through some of their personal issues that fall outside of therapy.
For the first time, I could just fall down. And, you know, it was just like, I didn't expect anyone to catch me, but they did.
We are wanting to not just change their lives, but the lives of generations to come. Yes. So I will say, I mean, I would love for one day that we do have something for young men. So that is definitely not out of the picture. When this started, what I had available as a way to help them with the employment was making jewelry. And we actually started in my home, and I was comfortable with working with women and felt like that was something that women would want to do. I absolutely see the potential that we could have young men working either with like different materials, like doing like wood cutting, or I don't know, some other sort of activity that we could use to employ them, and to provide that mentorship.
Oh yeah, okay. So wait, do you also make candles?
We do.
I mean, that could be
Yes, absolutely.
unisex bracelets.
We do make
So that's an
bracelets
opportunity for men. Yeah. Or maybe if you're not ready for them to get on board with the employment side, you can still have an outlet for young men to take advantage of your community opportunities, your mentorship opportunities, financial literacy, and all the other programs that you have to offer. And then they can still have that outlet while you brainstorm ways to employ.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that over the years, as needs have presented, right? And I pray about them like, okay, Lord, like here's this idea. Is it now? Is this something that I just need to like chew on for a while? And a lot of times it comes down to like, okay, well then you got to bring the people because I can't do it. So you got to bring the people. And I'm just waiting for the people.
It's for your team to expand.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. So, because we would need a really, what we have in our amazing staff of women, we need to be able to bring in some amazing men who could lead that aspect. So, I don't know, maybe somebody who's watching this interview.
Maybe.
I
mean, that's the point. Maybe. Like we said, everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
You might have somebody knocking on your door. Okay, so I want to ask something else. What do you believe the masses don't understand or can't comprehend about the foster care system? People who don't have any affiliation, just hear about it, read about it, someone, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that attitude of, oh, these children should be so grateful, and understanding that that's not how they necessarily feel. I think also people don't understand how often these foster kids get moved from home to home, and how disruptive that is, and for a variety of reasons that they need to be moved. And just the instability that causes. And, I was, over Christmas, I was watching The Queen's Gambit with my dad, she's an orphan in an orphanage, and all the orphans are coming up and they're giving them medication. And my dad was, made a comment about like, oh gosh, that's awful that they're like giving these kids these drugs, and they were like drugs for behavior modification. And I was like, oh, Dad. And then I like, my like anger starts rising. I'm like, they still do that. And I've talked with several former foster youth who are in group homes, and that is one thing that they're like, people don't realize how much medicating that they're doing, right? So these kids are in group homes and they're giving them medications, and then they are out on their own, but they're addicted to this medication. And so now, like, what are they supposed to do? And it's just like how everything just kind of spirals, and you don't have a support system. And so you end up in jail, or you end up homeless, or you end up being trafficked. I mean, like, statistically, like, that's what happens to these kids. And they're like set up from the beginning to be institutionalized. And it's just the insanity. So some things that I think a lot of people don't realize is half the homeless population in Raleigh was in foster care. 60% of trafficking victims come from foster care. Our prisons are full of foster kids.
Wow.
So, what do you do?
Oh boy. So the medication, who's administering that?
Well, and that's, I don't want to throw all group homes under the bus, but there is in different environments, they are medicating the children for behavior modification so that they're not lashing out, so that, and it's like, okay, well, that, you think that makes sense, but it's apparently a problem from what I have heard. I have not ever been in a group home. I am not speaking from personal experience, so maybe I should give a big disclaimer here, but those are some of the stories that I've heard.
Wow. So if there was one thing that you could change about the foster care system, or maybe more than one thing that you could change, what would it be?
As frustrated as I can be at certain, foster parents, I think there are so many really good foster parents who really care, and they are giving day in, day out to these kids, and they know these kids. But the foster parents actually have zero rights for those kids. So if the social worker or the guardian ad litem, if they make a recommendation to move the child, the foster parent has no recourse. And I think that they are missing an opportunity to really understand the child by not giving, more, letting the foster parents speak into what is best for the child. So ideally, we want reunification. We want that child to go home. Like, that's the ideal. And then when it's not, is when they end up going from foster home to foster home, and they don't find permanency.
What's the likelihood of foster children or foster youth to go back to their original homes?
I don't know that statistic.
So it's not likely? Or you just don't know?
Yeah, I really don't know.
Okay.
But I know that that's always the initial, unless there is like severe like abuse, the goal is always the reunification, because a lot of times kids end up in foster care just because of poverty and the parents not able to care. They love their child, they want to take care of their child, they just aren't able to because of poverty.
So what's the application process for a foster parent?
Oh, well, they would need to contact the local county DSS or Department of Human Services and inquire, and then they would give them directions on how to like sign up for the classes and all of that. So you start by you make a phone call, and then you go to an orientation, and then you go through a series of classes, and then submit the paperwork to the state, and then you get to be a licensed foster family.
How long does that take?
So we started our process it was in January of 2018. I think that was when we did the orientation, did our classes, got everything submitted. We did not get our license until December of that year.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness.
So I think maybe that was a little longer than what it's typically, but there was it just took a long time for the state to finally give us the go-ahead.
And you were taking classes all that time, or you had
No,
to wait? You were waiting.
Waiting. So the classes were done, we'd submitted all the paperwork, and then we were just kind of in limbo.
Wow.
But it was during that limbo that the idea of Hope and Vine came to be. So we did have a foster son who was with us for a couple months, and then he left to be with his great aunt. So he got to go with family, which was wonderful. And after that was when Hope and Vine started in my home, and our licensing worker, who I've seen since, I was like, oh yeah, you told us we couldn't be foster family anymore. But it's because we had adults working in our home, and so we couldn't be a foster family. But he said, like you can't have foster kids, but do this, because nobody else is doing this, and this is needed. And so we said, okay. So that was the only foster child we had, but now I have a bunch of adult daughters, and so this is just how foster care is for me.
It's interesting that you sought out a foster care boy, and then Hope and Vine is for women.
Uh-huh.
Very interesting. I just noticed that. Mm-hmm. I'm just rattling off some other questions that come to mind. How long does your license last?
It's 2 years.
2 years?
Yes. Yeah.
So you don't think that the process does a good job of weeding out foster parents who are just in it for the money? Like, do they test for genuineness? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure what all goes into their process. I don't know. That's a great question.
Hey,
I would love to know that myself.
Yeah, because if that's a big problem that you mentioned, I'm sure they should have something in there. But hey, so what are some other unique challenges, if there are any, that foster parents face that might be different from a standard family?
Oh goodness. I mean, there's definitely more challenges. I mean, when you have your own child, and that bond is there early, right? And that trust, and so you can speak into their lives and you can parent a certain way. But when a child comes into your home that you don't have that bond with, they don't trust you. It takes time to do, to earn that trust. One of the challenges we had when we had our foster son, he was great. My daughter was awful. And so, because she was the youngest and she was feeling, misplaced. So sometimes it's challenging when you have biological children and you bring a foster child into your home, and just like that dynamic, and then also just the people need to understand the impact of trauma, and parenting just looks different. So there's been really great research and training that is out there that talks about, specifically like how do you parent a child who's had so much trauma.
Did you know what you were going to get yourself into with regards to trauma?
No.
So that was a surprise on your part as well.
Yes. I mean, you can think but you don't really know until you're in it. And so I think it's really just being willing to equip yourself along the way.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So how do I phrase this question? So when we talked before, and when I talked to you about, young women coming into your organization, kind of spewing their trauma onto you, and then you separating that from your home. Mm-hmm. Now, when you take on a foster care youth yourself, that separation is a little bit more difficult.
Right.
Right. Because they're in your home.
Right.
So how was that? Was your daughter ready for that? Was your husband ready for that?
Right.
How did I don't mean to get too personal. I'm
No, that's fine. So I will say, right, when we had a foster son, I did not work outside of the home.
Okay.
And so it wasn't that I was, having foster care at home and then going to work and working with foster care. And so I would say for everybody needs a place of rest. And so for foster families, I mean, my hope is that they have, a job that they can go to that is filling them up. If the home situation is really hard, right, then you need to be able to go to a place where you can get filled back up. There are a lot of really great foster parent retreats. So I think those are, where it's like no foster kids allowed, right? Like it's for the parents to go, have time alone, to get that, to, be filled back up. Yeah. So, and then with being a foster parent, you have to have continuing education hours. And so a lot of these retreats will provide that as well.
Interesting. Did you ever need to lean on a neighbor or a family friend?
We have great neighbors they are now they do fostering.
They were inspired by you?
Well, no, I think it was kind of happening all at the same time. But they were very excited that we were doing it, and we've been able to, when they have a placement come in, be able to assist them with whatever they need. So yeah. Wow. So I think definitely need to have a really good support system in place.
Most definitely. I can definitely see that. So what are some mindfulness tips that I guess you incorporate within yourself in your day-to-day working with foster or former foster youth or women that keep you grounded, that keep you positive, that help you to pleasantly interact with these women and with your family on a day-to-day? I mean, most people don't surround themselves with trauma, So what are some tips that you incorporate in your life?
I exercise. To release stress and that release that nervous energy. Breathing. And I really have a hard time if I'm eating a lot of sugar. I have a hard time staying calm. So I have learned that by eating healthier, I am just calmer in general. And so I think, yeah, I mean, definitely, breathing, I mean, it helps just, slowing down the breathing, kind of telling your body to stop panicking, that it's going to be okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what are some past and present and future trials or tribulations that Hope and Vine trekked through? And some, I guess, future, roadblocks or some future challenges that you foresee coming for Hope and Vine that you're in the process of preparing for?
So I think there's been a lot of, not all ideas are good ideas.
Okay.
And so we've tried a lot of different ideas over the years that were like, oh, we're going to do this thing. We've tried multiple times to open a second location, and that has yet to happen. And so we're like, okay, maybe this isn't the right thing that we need to be focusing on, or maybe it's not yet. And so I think just being able to keep learning from all those experiences. And so, going forward, we would love to be able to expand these life skill classes that we just started. And so, but, we want to make sure that we've got it, that we know what we're doing first before we start to, try to expand that out. And so we are in that process now. So I guess looking forward, potential roadblocks are kind of just like the same things that we've had in the past, where it's like we need the people who want to get on board and catch the vision and work alongside us.
Wow. And also incorporate males or
That's right.
boys. Awesome.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, do you have any lasting words or any lasting comments that you like to say about Hope and Vine, yourself, anything?
No, I'm just excited, any chance I can have to share this vision and to, hopefully get people excited about it. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for your time. Thank you for sharing your story with me, sharing a little bit about who you are, what you stand for, what you're doing with these wonderful young women. And I hope that you continue to impact all the participants who come through these doors and through your organization, and you just grow. You grow, and you impact more lives, and you impact more families. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.